What's up guys, Brian here. I'm the developer of Adventure Portal, and I am going to go over all the current features of the game in its current state. So starting off here, the menu has changed a bit. I have switched over to photon networking, so now there's a little bit different procedure to log in. To create a public game, you simply type in a name here on the create side and hit create online game. And I have already done that with another instance. And so after you do that, you can hit list public games, and that game will show up right here, and it'll show the name, the players, and a join button. Now if you wanted to create a private game that does not show in the public listing, you would do the same thing, except you would check private game, and the private game just hides it from the public listing here. And in order to join a private game, you would have to know the name of the game and type it in this side on join private, and you would have to get it, it's case sensitive, and you type in the name and then you hit join, and it'll join a private game. So that's how games work with creation and joining. Alright, so let's go ahead and join the one I've created here. Alright, so this is the screen you see when you first join. All players are going to be on the right side, and they're going to start as players, not a dungeon master. Currently, there is no dungeon master. In order to set yourself as a dungeon master, the slot has to be empty, and you select the Set as DM button on your tag. So that's how that works. So in the center here is where you would see the world map and the encounter map. The world map and an encounter map are pretty self-explanatory. The world map is where the DM would load a map of the world, and the icons on that map are they represent locations, and from those locations the DM can load different encounters or other smaller maps or more local maps. The encounter is the gridded map, and this is where players set their tokens. This is where the DM sets tokens, and this is where you act out the game. Alright, so neither one of these have anything loaded. Those have to be loaded by a DM, and currently there is no DM. But before we get there, let's go over to the character profile. Now both the DM and the characters, DM and players, have their profiles on the left side here. Let's go ahead and load one. Alright, so this is the player or character profile. It consists of 4 tabs. You got abilities, equipment, character, and spells. The abilities tab holds all your stats, and it does some calculations for you. For instance, if you select any of the save proficiencies, it'll automatically add your proficiency bonus, and if you have any of the skills proficiencies checked, it'll add your proficiency bonus. Alright, so I'm going to eventually make this to where you can do double and then add extra modifiers if you want. Right now it just does one function. So yeah, this is all work in progress, so there's more to come. Okay, everything else in here is just an input field where you can type in information and it saves it. So that's basically all it does. There's nothing automated here at all, not yet. Down at the bottom, this is just a really large notepad for you to use as you will. And that's about the image here that you set. This is the image that'll show in your token, and it shows on your tag on the right side. To change the image, you click on it, and it brings up the select image window. All right, and you can either select a generic that comes with Adventure Portal, or you can go to the internet and find any image from the internet, as long as it is a JPEG or a PNG. And let's type in portrait, and here we go. So you can get any image off the internet, copy the image address, and type in the URL, Control V to paste it, and hit enter, and it'll load that image. You can stretch it to fit, and then adjust its pan a little bit, and then give it a name. We'll call this Orc2. There we go. All right, so and now we've changed our image. And the images on the right are saved once you input them. They're saved and they're there forever. So that becomes part of your custom image library. And pretty much any image in Adventure Portal can be set, you can bring in a web image for almost every image in the game. All right, so that's that. You can also set your color, and this color is attached to your icon, so you're distinguishable, and it also shows on your tag over here. All right, so that's about it for the abilities tab. Next one is the equipment tab, and this is just input fields where you can input. It's just like these are just notepads, and there's I have them set up into categories. The next one is more of the same. These are all different input fields for you to use. Except for the token size, this one is a drop down that sets the size of your token on the map. So if you're a giant, you would be huge or large. And also on the map, when you put your token down, there will be a little description box that will show when people click on you, and that will show whatever you put in this. So that's the only particular things about the character tab. And now let's go to the spells tab. Now the spell tab is a little bit more intricate. There is a slot for every level of spell, and how you work it is you say you have 4 cantrips, so you would drop down, we know 4 spells, and then each one you would select, and then you could input the name here, and then spell info here, and then hit enter. And you can see that it saves that information. Now, on the right side, there is little toggles that let you know if you've used the spell or not. These are the slot, the use indicators. Excuse me. And if you want to go to the SRD, you can load up the spell library, pick your class, and select a spell from that class, and then write it to whatever slot you have currently selected. Just write it over, and it'll import that information to that particular spell. And that's how that works. Now these are saved, and everything is auto saved in the character sheet, and I think that covers most of the character sheet. Let's take a look at the dice roller real quick. This tab brings out the dice roller. You select the amount of dice with the arrow buttons. You can add or subtract a modifier and hit roll, and it will show a public roll in the log here. If you want to roll and it not be shown to everybody, you uncheck the make result public button, and it will roll. It'll show it in the log, but it'll be private. Only you are seeing this in the log. Nobody else will see that. So that's pretty much the dice roller in a nutshell. All right, so that is the player character sheet. All right, now to show you anything else, I got to let's set ourselves as the DM. So this automatically saves. Let's go ahead and set ourselves as the DM by setting clicking the Set as DM button. Boom. Now this is gone, and now there is a Dungeon Master profile, and let's create a new one. Call it new. All right, so the Dungeon Master tools are pretty straightforward. There's 4 tabs again at the top. First one's main, the next one is notes. Notes consist of 3 notepads, just like in the character sheet. The main has a notepad. It also has an initiative tracker and an avatar. You can set your face and your color, and will be DM. And this top one is the campaign name. So this will be the name of your campaign, and this will be displayed at the top for everybody. Let's be Orc Hunters with a typo. There we go, Orc Hunters. All right, and I'll show you the initiative tracker after we have some tokens to run an initiative on. The notes pad is pretty self-explanatory. The next one is the sound effects tab. And this is a collection of sound effects that I've put together for you to use. It's pretty limited now. Eventually I'm going to expand it, and eventually I want to maybe get a SoundCloud API linked into this to where you can use anything from your SoundCloud account. But for now, this is all I have, and this is how it operates. You simply click on the button to play the sound, like so. Yes, that's it. Oh, I think it's pretty quiet. Here, let's increase the volume. All right, so that's how it works. You set the volume right here, and if you want to test out a sound before you send it to the players, you just uncheck Send to Players, and now you're just testing them locally. And as soon as you got the one you want, you can hit Send to Players, and they all hear it. All right, and the next tab is Ambience, and this is there's two things here. These both loop, so these once you play them, they keep playing forever until you stop them. And they both have a Send to Players button, so you can test them. You set the volumes, and this one is environment sounds, so it'd be like hums and fireplaces and stuff like that. This one down here is music. So if you want a dark hum because you're in a windy cave and you want some music in the background, there you go. And you set an ambience. And once again, like I said, I'm gonna maybe integrate some SoundCloud functionality at some point. I'm still looking into it. I don't know if it's completely possible, but it is on the table. I do want to expand the audio capabilities here. So back to main. That pretty much sums up the Dungeon Master profile over here. Let's go ahead and load a world map. All right, to load an encounter or a world map, this little panel right here is where you do that, and this will only show if you are the DM and you have your profile loaded. So once you have your DM profile loaded, you come over here, you can load an encounter. Let's load tests. All right, so what you're looking at here is a gridded, now this is the encounter map, so you're looking at a gridded map, and it shows a background, tokens, and a player start location. Now, since the player start location is where a player was when we last saved. In other words, when we shut down last time, this is where that player was sitting. So the player, here, let me load a player. Okay. A player can now, will see that they were here, or you can indicate that they were here. A couple of things, you can click the mouse wheel, and you can move to pan, or you can hit WASD to pan. The mouse wheel also zooms. To select a token, we start up here with this is our DM toolbox on the right side. At the top we have move tokens where you can grab a token. You left click to select, you right click to move, and that moves them. When you select them, it brings up the info panel at the bottom. The info panel is where you configure the token. You can set a bunch of information about it right here. Its moves, abilities, its armor class, all that stuff. You can set the name, its status. So the name is at the top, the status is on the side. You can choose to hide those to where nobody can see them. You can choose to force hide this. In other words, if this is force hidden, that means it will stay hidden no matter whether it's behind a shroud or not. Right now, everything is behind a shroud, and we'll get to the shroud controls in a second. The last thing you can do is you can set the image, and the image is set just like all the other images. You can grab an image from the internet, size it, and then save it, or you can use some of these. These are categories: aberration, animal, fey, giant, humanoid. You can use generics, or you can use particular images from the internet. Let's make Kim an orc. There we go. And we'll show his name and unhide him. There we go. All right, and last one, you can make him tiny to huge, depending on what type of character it is for you. All right, so next one is the edit shroud. So to edit the shroud, you would select a brush size, 1, 3, or 5 cells. You click on the map and it'll illuminate that area. And it works with the left mouse button to illuminate and the right mouse button to hide. So you can paint it pretty quickly like that. And these top 3 buttons will remove the entire shroud, fill the entire shroud, or the reset button will fill the entire shroud and remove all the tokens. So it basically starts you over. Let's just reveal a little bit. All right, the next one down is the edit effects. And now effects, you select those by selecting a brush size. And then you select a color and a type. And these are just little indicators, little basic effects that you can use to indicate, whatever you want. And they come in a variety of shapes and colors. And those work just like the shroud, where you left click to apply them and right click to remove them. So, and you can set the brush size to large or small. So those paint just like the shroud. All right, the next one is player blackout. Now, right now we've been working, but the players have been staring at a black screen that says standby or adventure portal, because they can't see this yet because they are in blackout. Now, if you say we're working behind the scenes, we're getting everything lined up, and we're doing some adjustments as the DM, and we're not ready for the players to see it. That's what the blackout is there for. Once you're ready, you click show map, and now they can see the encounter map. And once they can see the encounter map, they can click and select, they can place their character. And once they place their character, you don't need the markers anymore, and you would remove them by clicking remove player start markers. And now there is our player. And the player simply right click, can set their token on the screen, and they right click anywhere to move it. And that's about all the player can do. They can click on icons to show their, whoops, let's go to move tokens. They can click on icons and read this middle box. Players will not see the outer boxes, only the darker one. That's what they see. And they can move their character. The DM can see all the boxes, and they can move all the characters. The DM can also move players. Players cannot move other tokens. Players can only move themselves. All right, so there's a couple other features. If you want to indicate a specific grid square, you can hold down shift and click on the grid, and whatever your color is will highlight that square. So if you're asking about a specific character, you can highlight them and show everybody what you're talking about. Now, there's also a measure tool. So say I want to measure new guy to the player, I would hold down spacebar, click on my start position, and then drag out a distance, and it will show in the measure tool right here how far that is. That's 30 feet away. Now, if you want to find a path, you would click again, and each click adds a waypoint. So you can measure out a complex path. Let go of the spacebar to remove it. And that's how the measure tool works for now. There's some grid controls. First of all, you can set the grid opacity with this slider, and you can change its color from white to black. And for maps that you get off the internet that are based on a grid, you can match them to the game grid by using the grid controls right here. You can set it to box or hex. Now, disclaimer: if you change these, it will remove all the tokens. So it's best to do this at the beginning before you set up all your locations and setting all your tokens, because in order to change the grid, you have to remove all the tokens. After you have the grid set, you can and you have your texture set, which is set with the texture button, and it's like everything else. You can grab a default, or you can grab something from the web. And once you have it imported, you can change its scale to match the grid, and then you can match the grid to the image. And it takes some sizing and finagling, but you can get it to match pretty much any image on the internet, as long as you have to spend some time on it. But it's possible. I can usually get them all to line up perfectly. So that's basically how this works. I think that is it for the encounter map. So I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh yeah, I am missing something. There's one more thing: the token library. The token library is where you hold all your tokens. All tokens are custom, and you open up the library. You can create a new token by clicking the button, and you select it, and you can fill out all the information here, set its image, big dude. And then set him to huge. And then you fill out all the information here, fill out his stats, and now you can select him, and you left click in the world to apply him, and that's how that works. I'm gonna delete these guys. So that's it. All tokens are saved here, and they'll be there for you the next time. Let's close that. That I think does it for the encounter map. So let's bounce over to the world map. So here's the world map. Once again, we're going to load. Let's load town. Boom. So yeah, I grabbed an image from the internet. It's some island in the Indian Ocean, I think. This is our map, and these are the icons. This one is a lot more simple. The players don't do anything except read information off this map. This is simply to look at for the players. The controls are the same as far as panning and zooming. It's all done with the mouse and the WASD. So the players can select something, and they will once again only see the center dark box, which holds the name and a description. The lighter gray boxes are for the DM, and the DM can hide them, show the name, and set the size. And that's basically it for the map. Except for this other thing on the right side. The DM can say this town here is where we have that encounter that we just showed in the encounter map. So if the players are traveling and they want to come here, you can actually attach that encounter to this location, and once they're here, you can quick load it like that, and it brings it up, and it loads whatever encounter you want through the world map. So if you set up a world with 50 different encounters, you can attach them to different locations, and that helps you organize them. And the same is true for the maps window right here. Say you have, this is the world map, say you have another map that has a regional map of the area around Limthort here. You can load that as well the same way. So say, yeah, we have Limthort area, and you could put that one right there. And that is roughly it. Icons are set the same way as all the other ones. I have a lot of default icons you can use. You can also bring in images from the internet. And you can click on them with the left click and then right click to move. You can set the scale of the map with the scale image, and the actual texture is set with the texture button. So that's how the maps work, and those are quickly switched between with the two buttons up here. Yep. All right, so I want to go over the initiative tracker, so let's go back to the encounter map. I did not show this earlier, so let's put a character into the scene. Remove the start location. All right, so Newt here just walked into the bar and everybody's going to attack him. So let's clear the list. We're going to add tokens by clicking the add tokens button. We're going to select everybody we want to be in the initiative roll and then hit roll for initiative. Now it's going to roll a d20 for all of the NPCs and then prompt the player to roll. The player will get a prompt that will give them an option to enter a modifier, and then they'll hit roll, and it rolled a 17 plus 3. Very cool. That puts them at 20, and that's the top roll. So Newt goes first. All right, so that's how that works. You can select any of these people in the initiative roll through the tracker, which helps you move through them, and you can also edit the results here. So if, say, this guy has a special condition and we want to make him a 22, boom, he jumps up and it auto sorts to the new position in the list. All right, and you can remove them from the tracker by hitting the X, and you can clear the whole thing by hitting clear list. So that's how the initiative tracker works. It's pretty simple, and I think this just about does it as far as features right now. Oh yeah, we got our chat room here. All right. Chat room works as you would expect. Punch in a message and it shows to everybody. No, actually, it does not show to everybody. It only shows to people who have their gets messages box checked. So if you want to send a private message to one person, you would uncheck everybody except the one person you want to get message. And that's how private messages work with the chat room. And let's see. I think that's it. Okay, so that's it for now. That's where I'm at with Adventure Portal. Thanks for, if you made it this long, thanks for checking it out. And I will keep you updated, and I'll see you next time.